C'est le temps de l'amour, le temps des copains, de l'aventure. Quand le temps va et vient, on ne pense à rien, malgré ses blessures. Car le temps de l'amour, c'est long et c'est court, ça dure toujours, on s'en souvient.
Hi everybody, welcome to this new knitting podcast. So this is probably the 10th time that I record this introduction. I struggle with perfectionism a little bit, but this podcast is also a bit of a new way that I found to combat this and force myself to get over this, oh, I'm just not going to do it if it can't be perfect, because this podcast surely cannot be perfect. It's just impossible. So yeah, I hope it's going to help me with that. So enough with that, I guess I should introduce myself a little bit. So my name is Claire. I'm a knitter, an all-around quite creative person from the French-speaking part of Switzerland where I live. I decided to record this podcast in English because I quite miss speaking English. I used to live in the UK just for a year, which would explain why I have a little bit of a British accent, even though I know that I don't sound even close to native. But yeah, I thought that recording this podcast would help me not forget too much English, and I just really enjoy speaking in English, which might sound a bit strange, but yay. So other than that, I'm 22 and I study psychology at university. So this podcast is not going to be purely focused on knitting, although I think it's going to be the main focus. So yeah, I think I'm going to speak a little bit about sewing. I don't sew well at all, but it's a learning curve. I embroider a little bit, I do a tiny bit of crochet, but other than that, I'm going to try to include a lot of little kind of personal, not like personal in the sense of telling you all about my life, but personal little moments, kind of stolen moments from my life that I really want to document and not forget. I'm quite into just remembering the tiny little things and tiny little details. So yeah, I hope that this podcast is going to help me with that, I guess, and be interesting. It's going to be quite eclectic, I think. As I was saying, mostly focused on knitting, but I do not exclude a little bit of music, or cooking, or talking about random societal things, maybe, I don't know. So yeah, I know that it's another knitting podcast. There are a lot of them on YouTube, but I really truly enjoy watching them. So I thought, well, why not another one? Honestly, I'd be very, very surprised if anybody ended up watching this, but if you're here, thank you so much. That means a lot, and that makes me quite shy. As you can probably tell, I'm really not used to speaking in front of a camera, so I hope it's not going to be too awkward. Had actually previously, one of the 10th times, recorded this introduction, but it was just like so warm in here, and you could just like tell that I was melting. So I decided to re-record it once I've actually recorded almost the whole episode round. Okay, I almost recorded the whole episode, and I'm just like coming back on here now that I'm a little bit more at ease in front of the camera. So I hope it's going to go fine. In case I look here, like on the top, it's because I have the screen and I can see myself, but I'm trying really hard not to like look at how I'm looking right now. So I hope you will like it and you will enjoy just like watching me talk about stuff. I'm not the most advanced knitter at all. I'm quite a beginner, not a like really like beginner, but an intermediate beginner probably. I started knitting in November 2020. I feel like a lot of people started knitting once COVID hit, because we just had nothing to do and really fell in love with it. Didn't stop. I actually learned when I was quite little with my grandma. She taught me, but it didn't really click with me until way later in life, when I had just turned 20. So yeah, let's get to it. This podcast is going to be structured, I think, at least for today, unless I find another idea for next time. Oh, by the way, it's probably not going to be a monthly podcast. First reason being that I'm actually leaving tomorrow evening to go on a 1.5 month long holiday. So for practical reasons, there's not going to be an episode quite next month. But I think I'm more of a burst of energy kind of person, so I'm just going to record whenever I really feel like it, whenever I want to show you things, and I'm not the most prolific knitter, so yeah, I'm going to just like do as I please and hope that you like it. If you have any suggestions or any remarks, please leave them down in the comment section. I would love to hear them, and yeah, that's it. Let's get to it. So this podcast is going to be structured in a very regular way. I feel like the first section is going to be finished projects. So today there really aren't a lot of them, and they're quite small. Then works in progress or whips, and then kind of like my future plans or current interests, kind of the miscellaneous part of the podcast, which is going to be a little bit more personal, maybe talking about some little reflections. I also think that I'm probably going to record like other episodes, so I won't get too personal or too deep into one topic, because I would probably enjoy making a video about it. So let's get started. The screen, because otherwise I'm gonna keep looking at myself, which we don't want. So yeah, it's just so warm. Just wrong day to film a knitting podcast involving a lot of wool, but we're gonna be fine. I just hope that I'm not going to end up too shiny. But yeah, if I didn't film this today, I probably never would have. So yeah, we're doing this. So for the first finished project, well, first of all, little parenthesis. Sorry if this is kind of not very organized. I wouldn't say I'm not an organized person, but when it comes to filming stuff, this is all very new for me, so I'm trying to do my best. There's a lot of works in progress. I'm looking there because there are some of them, and not a lot of finished projects. There are actually only 2 little tiny finished projects. But yeah, as I was saying, if I didn't record this podcast today, it would not have been recorded at all, so we're doing what we can here. So yeah, the first finished project is this. So it's a hot water bottle cover. The pattern is free by Maker, and it's actually a very good pattern. I knitted it because Emma from Trescao, it's a French knitting podcast. You probably know her if you speak French. I love her podcast, it's really good. Recommended it, and it's actually the third one that I knit. The 2 first ones, one I knit 2, one for my mom, one for my grandma, and this one was for my dad, for his birthday at the beginning of July. So it was knitted in Drops Alaska. In the color, I think, I'm looking at my phone here, I think it was 59 Lemon. I'm going to write here in case. And it's a very, very easy pattern. It wasn't blocked, as you can maybe tell, but I thought that just like the heat and maybe a bit of the moisture from the water bottle was maybe going to block it naturally. So yeah, this is quite a bright yellow, as you cannot tell on the camera. I think it's brighter in real life, but this is a great pattern. It's a very good stash busting pattern. This is actually just 2 skeins of Drops Alaska, so quite cheap and just, yeah, I think it's sturdy. It's 100% wool and it's great because you don't end up burning yourself. Obviously not weather appropriate at all for like this temperature, but yeah, quite enthusiastic about it, and my dad really liked it. I actually had to like take it again to just show you, and I'm gonna give it back to him, obviously. So the next little finish project, and the only other one, is this little knitted scrunchie. So how cute is that? It was actually the first time that I knit scrunchies. I used to crochet scrunchies, but I think that the knitted ones are kind of cuter. I feel very like early 2000 beauty guru, just showing like products like that. But yeah, it's quite big, and it's quite like, because I have quite thick hair, so I need a good like sturdy one. I knit this. It's super quick. It was a perfect project, just like taking it on the train. Didn't take a lot of space in my bag, which is like super quick, nothing complicated, and something that I actually really use. And well, I've never used it. I've worn it once, but I think I'm going to use it every day. Just like the color is so cute. This is Drops Lima in 0707 Rust. I love this yarn. It is so beautiful. I think I'm going to put some videos of it right now so you can see more properly. I love it. It's just like super beautiful, super soft, and there's a lot of reflet in French. A lot of like subtle little colors in there. I had actually ordered almost a sweater quantity for it because I wanted to make maybe the Marseille sweater by Petiteknit, but actually because I had 1 skein left from the first hot water bottle cover that I knit for my mum, and it turned out beautifully. I just love the color, so I ordered a bunch of other skeins in the same color, but the dye lot had obviously changed and I didn't like the color quite as much. So yeah, I just thought that I was going to knit a little scrunchie so I can just wear it and have this beautiful color with me, and I think it looks great. I love it. So I think we're already done with finished knitting projects. Yeah, these are like really quick ones. The ones I'm going to show you now are more on the bigger side of things, which might explain why I didn't finish them yet, but working on it. So now let's talk about my works in progress. I thought that I was going to start by the oldest one that I have, which is coincidentally the most advanced one, all the way to the most recent one. So the first one is, and I'm never going to pronounce this correctly, I'm sorry, Skógafjall by Dianna or Dianna Walla. So this is a colorwork sweater. I actually have no idea how I can show this properly. This is not in season at all. This is a Christmas jumper. It's not supposed to be a Christmas jumper, but I turned it into one because I really wanted the Christmas jumper without being like, how can I say this, like, you know, Bridget Jones unwearable ones. This I can still wear, but it's very much Christmas like thanks to the color and like the little pine trees here. So this is it, like that. It's almost finished. I just need, oh, this one is done, just need to do the grafting under the arm. It currently has bright purple yarn in it, which is not going to stay like that, hopefully, but I just did not want to finish this by 30+ degrees Celsius weather. It's not practical for me at all, but I love it for now. I haven't blocked it. It's just so great. It's super long. It's super long. I was questioning myself if I wanted to I also need to like weave in the ends. If I wanted to unravel it a little bit and make it shorter, but I think for like Christmas time and probably like the end of December or even January when I'm going to wear it, I would really enjoy having a really warm sweater or jumper to knit around, to wear around the house with just leggings, and then like the fact that it's really long would come in really handy. So there are a lot of floats. It was actually that's not true, my second colorwork jumper. And I'm not the best at like hatching floats and stuff, but I was actually quite pleased how it turned out. Not perfect at all, but honestly quite liked it. It was also the first time that I was doing short rows, so as you can see I'm a baby knitter. I don't have a lot of experience. I can absolutely share what I know and my knowledge, but maybe don't come to me if you don't understand something about knitting or if you need a lot of advice, because I'm really learning as I go. So yeah, first finished, well not finished but almost finished. I literally just have to do that, but obviously not gonna get done for like 2 months. Well, I guess I could tell myself that before the next knitting podcast, which is going to be in quite a while because I'm going on holiday, I should finish this to present it as a finished object and have blocked it. I think that's a reasonable thing. Yeah, don't know. So as for the yarn, I used Drops Naffle. So I have a few of them remaining. It is great, but the jumper is really heavy. It's really heavy because you need a lot of balls. Especially, I make quite a large size and it's quite long, so it's even heavier. I don't know how many balls I used. I'm going to try to write it here. So yeah, I have a few left over. Well, actually I have more than this left over. I have more green and more brown, I think, left over. Just have this of red left over. So yeah, the colors, if you're interested, I wrote down that the red is 3608. That's pomegranate. The green is 8906. Beautiful. The white is 100 and the brown is 0612. I'm just laughing because I'm just like throwing them on the floor and I'm going to have a lot of cleaning up to do, but that's fine. So I'm gonna hit pause now and show you my next almost finished project. So now for my second work in progress. This is a cardigan, more exactly the balloon cardigan, if the camera wants to focus. Yay! It's actually one of the only times that I actually printed a pattern out. I don't know why. Generally I just use a PDF file thing, like software, to write directly as I go on the pattern for raglan stitches and stuff like that. So yeah, I really like it so far. I'm going to show it to you. It's quite difficult to show it because it's quite big, but I really like it so far. So it has one sleeve completely done except for the little end to weave in, and the rest is also done. There's ribbing here and there's just this sleeve to be knitted. So this is also in Drops yarn. This is in well, Drops and Horst Gone. So this is Horst Gone, super soft in sage blue. The color is 53 sage blue, and this is this is brushed alpaca silk by Drops, and the color is, I didn't check beforehand, should have checked, 21. So it's really just a beautiful sage green. It's super soft because like Holt's Garn, it's called super soft, but I don't think it is, at least for me. When you wash it, it's supposed to become softer. I have never knitted with it before, but I've heard that it becomes softer as you go and the more you use it. But yeah, the brushed alpaca silk is really soft, and I can say that generally I handle it better than mohair. It's a little bit less itchy for me. Not that mohair isn't soft, but when you're a bit warm, it can get a bit itchy. So yeah, I really love it so far. Yeah, I think for the future I'm going to stop knitting the whole body first and then knitting the sleeves, because I've been procrastinating the sleeve for a long time, a really long time, because I just really despise working with like a lot of volume, and you knit your sleeves in the round and you have to like turn your work all the time as you go, which is kind of annoying, especially if you're taking public transport and you like to knit while you're traveling. It's not very practical. So I think next time I do something like that, I'm going to stop with just like a little bit of the body and then knit the 2 sleeves, so I'm gonna have a little less volume. So for the buttons, I was thinking about these ones. Maybe you can tell me what you think. So I have a few of them. I had them in my stash, which is quite surprising because I don't remember buying them. I think they were probably my grandma's or my mom's. So yeah, I was thinking it fits, but I'm not sure if I want them because that's plastic. Or, ooh, you're not gonna see. Oop. Is it going to focus? I don't think it is. Oh yeah, it is. This is plastic, and I was wondering if I wanted to use wooden buttons. I guess I'll see, but for now I really like it. It's just exactly what I wanted. It's quite oversized. The gauge did not match, by the way. This was too big of a gauge. I think in the pattern she uses Lana, Arwetta, and mohair. And this is pretty much, the whole yarn is pretty much fingering, but brushed alpaca silk is thicker than mohair, I think. So I made a size M instead of an L that I would usually wear, and it's quite oversized, but I actually really love it. I like oversized stuff in general. I think it fits me quite well. So yeah, that's it for this work in progress. Can you tell I'm really struggling with the camera and just like speaking out loud, especially in another language, but yeah, I hope it's not too annoying. And yeah, so I'm going to hit pause now and show you my next project. So my next whip is this. It's the Trescao. I have no idea how to pronounce any of those names. I'm so sorry, but yeah, the pattern is by avec, and it's really great. I got it for free. I don't think it's a free pattern though. I don't know how I did. I think there was like something on Ravelry, but yeah, it's been quite a while. So yeah, I'm here. So I'm working on the body. I'm actually, yeah, I think I'm going to stop working on the body and just finish the sleeves first, as I was saying earlier. I skipped the slip stitches because normally you're supposed to have little like, oh sorry, I actually forgot the word in English. Dentelle. I'm going to write the word down here, but I skipped it to make more of a really basic raglan jumper. So I really like the details here. I think it's really beautiful, and once I will have blocked it, it's going to be awesome. So I have my project bag just like with the yarn hanging from it. I used, once again, I'm really enjoying that brand, and especially this yarn you're going to see my next project also uses that exact combination. It's quite, like, for using mohair, this is really the cheaper it's going to, you're gonna be able to get mohair, I think, unless it's like Diablo mohair or with polyamide and stuff like that, which I don't particularly enjoy. So this is a combination of Flora by Drops and Kit Silk. This is 22, so it's kind of a white, but like it's not neutral, it's more of a colder shade of white, and this is the natural mohair, so it's color 1. Kit Silk mohair. It's going to focus. I don't know if it is. Yes, it is. Beautiful. So yeah, it's a very like easy project. I started it when I was like revising a lot, and it's really just basic, and it's really nice to knit. Honestly, it's really nice to knit. I also really like it with short sleeves. I'm wondering if I'm going to maybe make a version with short sleeves once I'm done with this one, but probably not because I have a lot of other plans. So yeah, so now I'm gonna hit pause again. I'm going to try when I make another knitting podcast, to find a way to not hit pause all the time, because it's quite annoying, but I just don't have like enough space just right around me to be able to handle everything at once. But yeah, so be right back. My last whip is actually this little one. This is sweater number 14 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. So this is knit in also the same combination as the Trescao. I don't know, I kind of suck with names. This is knit in Drops Flora, the color 15, and in Drops Mohair, Kit Silk Mohair. It's going to focus. I don't know, it's beautiful. I just love the color. It's sage green. There's a lot of sage green in this podcast, actually. I went on kind of a sage craze. So this is color 34, and I love the combination. This is actually a sweater, or a jumper I should say, for my grandma's birthday. So she recently turned 80 in the middle of my exams, so I couldn't get her a gift in time. But I promised her that I was going to knit her a sweater, because she's really appreciative of knitting. She used to knit things for herself, and yeah, so I asked her to choose a color. I asked her for general directions, like what kind of sweater she would like. I knit her a swatch to ask her if she was okay with the fabric, and I think she loved it. So yeah, I hope she's going to like it. I loved the construction so far. I've never knit any V-neck sweater, so the color is going to be like ribbed, but I haven't done it, finished it yet. Can't talk, sorry. But yeah, there are short rows, German short rows to be precise, in the back, so that it's a bit higher. And it's just like knit back and forth to do the v-neck, and now I just joined to knit it in the round. Here are my needles. So it's quite an oversized sweater. So I think I'm going to make it a little less long than in the pattern, because my grandma is probably not going to want to wear a super long, including the sleeves, jumper. So yeah, I'll show you when the next time, if I finished it. I am currently working mostly, if not only, on this, because I really want her to have her birthday gift. It's the first jumper that I knit for another person. I made a lot of hats, some scarves, a shawl, and the hot water bottle covers that I showed you previously. But this is the first jumper, and she's really knit worthy. So yeah, I really hope she's going to like it. And for now, I really enjoy the construction, and I think the colors look great. So now the last part of this podcast, the kind of miscellaneous parts. I want to first of all tell you about 3 patterns that I would love knitting in the near future, although seeing the pile of whips on the floor, I don't know if it's very reasonable, but oh well, you know. So I actually have a little list here. I haven't purchased any of these patterns yet, but I really intend to. I actually have the first one. The first one I have, it is the Little Secret Crop by Jessi Maed Designs, I think. And I would love to knit it in Drops Merino Extra Fine. So this is this yarn. Yeah. It's a superwash yarn. I've never knitted anything with superwash yarn, but this pattern, I'm going to insert a picture. This pattern is kind of a bralette, which I don't really wear crop tops, but I think underneath other things during the winter it would be very practical and very comfortable. And I'm quite interested in the construction. A lot of people in different podcasts have said that they've knitted it 3, 4, 5 times, so I really want to see what it is all about. It looks great, and I thought that superwash wool was appropriate for this kind of project that you're going to have to wash more often because it's just closer to your skin, and well, it's a bralette. So yeah, this is it for the first project. The second one is the Ranunculus that I've never knitted so far. So this is just like an infamous pattern. Everybody, I feel like, has knitted at least one version of it. I wanted to knit it for a while, but I've been kind of procrastinating it. I feel like, I don't know if it's maybe the same for you, but whenever I hear about something over and over and over, it kind of discourages me to try it in a way, which sounds counterintuitive, but oh well. So I was thinking, I was actually looking at my yarn stash, and I don't know if I'm ever going to show it to you. I probably will. I mean, that would be kind of a nice video, because I've had the idea of like kind of getting rid of a lot of my stash, not by donating it or just gifting it to friends, first of all, because I don't have anyone that knits in my friends or family, which is one of the reasons I actually started this podcast, but just by knitting it. I could have said that in a way easier way, but never mind. I was looking at my stash and I noticed these bowls. I think there's a fourth one, but I have no idea where it went. It went somewhere. Don't know where. There are 4 of them. So it is, once again, it's going to focus. Yeah. The brushed alpaca silk by Drops, which is super soft. And I've seen on Ravelry some people knitting the Ranunculus with 3 to 4 balls of mohair or this. And if you knit at like quite a big gauge, like 5.5 or 6, apparently it's enough to have 4 balls of this brushed alpaca silk. And honestly, I think it would be a great project, wearing like a little camisole underneath, and just like in order to get rid of these balls and finally use them for something. So that would be great. And the third project, oh, did I say that the Ranunculus was by Midori Hirose? I don't think I did, but do I even have to say it? I'm not sure. The third project is the Pure Mesh Pullover by James N. Watts, and it's, these days I feel like it's everywhere. I don't know if it's just like a bias that I notice something that I'm interested in way more often, or if I just follow the trends without even meaning to follow the trends. But yeah, I stumbled up on it, and it's really not something I would usually wear. I would never buy something like that in shops, but I just kind of fell in love with it, and fell in love with the idea and the fact that I think you only need to have like 100 grams of yarn, something like that. So yeah, I would really enjoy knitting it. It once again, Drops Flora. I swear I don't only knit with Drops yarn. It's just yeah, I guess it represents most of my stash. I also have a few other brands, obviously, but yeah. So this is just the black color 6. I really wanted to have it in black because it's super versatile, and I think it just looks really, really cool and out of my comfort zone without being like too daring, because it would be in black. So I'll see. It looks quite quick to make. I don't know if it's actually true, but well, it's mostly holes, so it should be rather quick to knit. Alright, so now for the last part, the very, very last part of this podcast, I wanted to touch a bit on the subject of budget knitting, which I find quite interesting. I don't really have anything groundbreaking to say about it, but yeah, if you're watching this and you've come this far, first of all, thank you. I don't know if I would like to look at myself talking for, I don't know how long I've been recording. I've been hitting pause all the time because I cannot seem to form real sentences. Yeah, so you've noticed that I use a lot of drops yarn and some horse yarn also in this podcast, and that's pretty much it. One of the reasons for that is that, well, I'm a student, I can't really afford really nice brands or indie dyes or handspun yarn, although I wish I could, because these are great. So I think this knitting podcast is mostly going to focus on budget knitting. And also, if it's not too tricky, because first of all, I pay everything in Swiss francs because I live in Switzerland, and I order all my yarn online because it's just like not really affordable for my budget near where I live to go in a proper yarn store. But yeah, I'm going to try to just write approximately how much an item cost me, knowing that if you have a smaller frame than me, it's going to be less expensive because you're going to use less yarn, obviously. So yeah, I'm going to attempt to do that. But I think it's really interesting to just kind of find ways to be a bit more thrifty. So before the camera shut down because I ran out of battery, I was saying that the cost of yarn is quite important to me as a student because I need to fund my own hobby, and that hand-spun yarn, however beautiful it might be, just isn't a sustainable option for me. So I tend to gravitate around cheaper yarn, but I quite dislike knitting with synthetic fibers, for example acrylic yarn, or like nylon, things containing nylons, unless it's for socks, and even then I'm not a big sock knitter. So I tend to dislike that for a number of reasons. Maybe I'll get into it into another episode. Really hope there's going to be other ones. So yeah, that means that I have to shop at cheaper brands and to switch yarns from patterns. Like if a designer recommends a specific yarn, it's usually like 90% of the time or even more out of my budget, so I will just substitute yarn, and that has become quite a game for me, I must say. It's something that I quite enjoy doing. It's like seeing where you can save a bit of money without having no, I mean, I am fortunate enough that I do have money to spend on this hobby. Knitting is not a cheap hobby in my opinion at all, and I think that's the opinion of the majority of knitters. So yeah, so I hope this channel will be useful in that regard, that I will maybe be able to provide a few ideas for cheaper knitting, or let's say optimizing your knitting so that it becomes a little bit cheaper and more affordable. I really hope that I'm going to record other episodes because so far it's been really enjoyable talking to a camera, even though I feel very awkward and I don't know how it's going to turn out. It's going to be quite patchy, I think, because I cut a lot well, I stopped filming quite a lot because I was just getting lost in my words. So I hope it's going to be fine. So, well, I guess that's a wrap for today. I'll try to be back in maybe 2 months' time or something like that, because I am leaving for a holiday. A long holiday. I'm actually going to tour Europe a little bit, so maybe in the next episode I'm going to be able to include some footage of that. Let's hope so, at least. So thank you so much for watching. I hope it was a nice experience for you and that you got some knitting done, or at least a little bit of inspiration or motivation. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much and have a good rest of the day. Bye.